Hey everyone, we're back here for another episode of the Basement Bait Shop, and today we're going to do a little bit something different. Normally what we've been doing are some tips and how-to videos, and I had somebody reach out to me and ask me if I could talk more about my board that I've got in the room. And this board, kind of this whole area is what I'm talking about. This is I guess you could call it a dream board. It's really baits that I've put up here that have special meaning to me. They've been retired, whether they've caught special fish or they've been given to me by people. They're just baits that mean something to me, and I feel like, you know, I would be really upset if I lost any one of these. So, you know, I could talk probably for hours about all of, you know, the entire board. But instead what I'm going to do is I've got my little fishing buddy Hank here. Hank, you want to say hi?
Hi.
So he was nice enough to take some time away from the Packers game because he's a big Packers fan now. And he's going to pick out a couple of baits that we're going to talk about and see how this goes. So Hank, why don't you pick out a bait?
Okay. These.
All right. You want all of these. Okay, well, I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag on these. So these are Lucky Craft Wake Tails, and these all have special meaning to me because they're one of my favorite topwater baits. They've been discontinued recently, and it's just a bait that I've caught a bunch of fish on over the years. They're really good smallmouth baits. These are all retired. I don't know if you can tell, but propellers have been broken off of them. They've all been retired. They don't work anymore. But as you can tell, they're baits that I've held on to because they have special meaning, and I've caught a pile of fish on these over the years. You all know that I'm very big fans of chartreuse for smallmouth, and you can see I've got a lot of chartreuse ones, and because they're discontinued, this is the yellow herringbone. That one specifically is the color that Lucky Craft makes that I've had a lot of luck on. And because I can't find them anymore, these are custom ones that I've painted to match that. They're, again, just chartreuse with a little bit of orange. Really good bait. If you can find them, they'll catch you some fish. All right, Hank, let's pick another one.
One of these little boys.
One of these two little guys? All right. So these are special to me because these are two of the baits that I used as a little child growing up. This is like a tiny hula popper. I think it's a fly rod one. The tail has gotten crusty and fallen off. I'm not even sure. I want to say that that's a little Bill Norman. I'm not even sure. This goes back to when I was probably 12 or 13. My parents had a little lake house in Indiana on Lawrence Lake, Plymouth, Indiana area. And I used to take the paddle boat out, and I, at that point, had a spinning reel, and I could cast these, and I would just take them and twitch them on the surface, and I caught a lot of fish doing that. So these are ones that, you know, I used as a kid. They're probably, I don't know, I mean, these things are probably 30 years old at this point. So they've been retired and put on the board. All right, Hank, what else do you got?
Good catch.
Thanks.
Okay.
Anything over here?
That's funny.
This one?
Yeah.
All right. So this swim bait, it's been pretty rusted over the years. This swim bait, Casey O'Donnell would know this swim bait. He's a buddy of mine, lives down in the Gunnersville area. So I want to say 2014, we ended the season, the FLW tour down on Kentucky Lake, and I was sitting, I'm going to say like 50th place. And the first day I went out, and I think I ended up catching 14 pounds. I was fishing a main river ledge in Island Point, an upstream point, where, so there's actually a good story here. So I started the day, I was like boat 35 going out. We took out of Paris. I was running to the New Johnsonville area and literally humming down there, passing a few boats, and there's one boat in front of me that's left. And we literally come off pad at the same time, at the same place, and it's Brett Height. He was like boat number 6. And we sat down at the same time, and he had the cast. I knew what the cast was, but it was a one cast spot. There's just a ledge. I sat there. I tried to make a couple casts behind him. I tried to reposition where I could cast towards him, but I didn't want to be throwing at his boat. He caught like a 6 and then like a 4-pounder back to back. And at that point, it's still early, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and try to fight with him. I don't like ledge fishing that way. So I ended up pulling up and running around to other spots, and I really struggled the rest of the day. I ended up with like 14 pounds, which in that tournament was not that good. My other main spot was a island head in the middle of a river where I caught a pile of fish. They just were like 2.5 pounders to 3 pounders. And the funny thing with that is Josh Weaver, who was a co-angler in another boat, he's now a very good professional, pulled out a Magnum spoon. I think he was fishing with Chad Grigsby. And he pulled out a Magnum spoon in the middle of myself, Chad Grigsby, and Jay Yellis, and ended up like catching like an 8, losing one that was like 9 or 10. This was when nobody knew what the Magnum spoon was. I think he got it from Cody Meyer. It was the only one he had. He made 5 casts. I think he had a 7, a 4, lost a 9, lost a 4, and then on his 5th cast he broke off on a stump. And that was the only one he had. The next day, though, to getting back to this bait, I went out with my co-angler was Casey O'Donnell, a good friend of mine. And we went out, started on that island head again because I gave Brett Height his spot. Well, actually, so to end that, to finish up with day 1, we got back in, we checked in, I'm putting the boat on the trailer, weighted my 14 pounds, and the boat pulling out next to me is Brett Height. And I went up to Brett and I said, hey, I've got an earlier boat number. I'm going to beat you to that spot. I plan on fishing that spot. I'm just letting you know, so you can plan around it. I gave him the spot the first day. I thought it was right. I left. I figured I'd have the spot the second day. And he looks at me and goes, are you kidding me, Matt? And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's kind of how it works. And he goes, I'm leading the tournament. And I said, you're leading the tournament off that spot? And he goes, yeah. And he had like 27 pounds. And I just like, my stomach just sank. And I looked at him, I said, dude, you're leading the tournament. It's your spot. I'm giving it to you. And he goes, I really appreciate that. Karma's a good thing. It'll come around and help you. And I was like, hey, if I were leading the spot, I would expect you to give me the spot too. Second day, I go out with Casey O'Donnell. I go back to that island head, and we caught some fish again, but nothing great. I think Casey actually had like a 7-pounder that he caught on a swim bait. And I had one other school of fish that I checked the first day that I found with my travel partner at that time was Brian Partak. And, we caught like 3 or 4 nice 3 to 4 pound quality fish off this other spot. The first day I could not get him to bite. And I went back midway through with Casey O'Donnell. We pulled up and it was gangbusters. It was like every cast we were catching 4-pound class fish, just smashing them on a swim bait. This is one of the ones I was throwing. And I think he ended up, because he had that 7-pounder, he ended up with like 24 pounds. I think I had right about 22 pounds. Come back in, weigh in. I think I finished like in the 30s in that tournament. But it was good enough to bump me up inside the Forest Wood cutoff line. And I qualified for my first Forest Wood Cup championship. And I attribute a lot to this bait. And so it's got special memories. That whole tournament as a whole was pretty cool. So this one is definitely on the board. It's rusting out from the bait, but that's okay. All right, Hank. That was a good one. That was a long story. I didn't even think I'd get into all that.
Then a bullet.
Which one?
No, right next up up there.
This one or this one?
No, right by that.
This one?
Broke.
This one.
Yeah.
So this is a concoction that Joey Uribe Sr. made. He went out and fished with me. I believe it's just a beaver, and then I think this is a Yamamoto skirt that he attached. And we went out and fishing. My first year, I fished at the U.S. Open. He spent one of the days practicing with me. His son, Joey Uribe Jr., is part of the Bridgeford fishing team, and his dad was looking to go out for a day, and it's the first time I had been at Lake Mead, and I got the pleasure of fishing with him. And he's a super good fisherman, super intelligent fisherman, and the coolest thing is he's a tackle tinkerer. He has so many crazy little ideas and things that he does to his baits. This is one that I don't remember if he gave it to me or he left it in the boat. Either way, it's cool because he's got it on a football head, and then he added the skirt to it, and then he punches little holes. I don't know if you can see it, little holes in the flappers. And he told me all about doing these different things to it, and it was a special day fishing. I truly enjoyed the day. He's just a super intelligent guy and shared a lot of info with me. And to this day, that was the first year I was at Lake Mead for the U.S. Open. And I've been there 4 times now. I had the fish on one time to win. I've cashed checks in 2 other times, and then the 3rd time I was like one of the first guys outside a check range. And I very rarely even practice when I go out there. I just fish the tournament, and a lot of that I think goes back to some of the knowledge that he shared with me that day, and it's just valuable to me, and I appreciate this bait. So Joe, I don't know if you know I have this, but I do. All right, Hank, what else do you got? This little guy?
Yeah.
All right. So if you watch some of my other videos, I've got one that talks about the head spin, which is a contraption that I've put together. And this is a Dirty Jig swim bait hook where I've put on a propeller and with a Berkeley Power Swimmer. And this bait, I don't recall the year, I'm gonna guess 2017. I finished 10th in a Bass Open event on Smith Lake, attributed to this bait. I had several really nice spotted bass, including one that was probably 4.5 pounds. It's a really cool bait. I highly recommend going to my channel and watching the head spin video about how to make these. You'll catch a lot of spotted bass, a lot of smallmouth using this. Just one of those baits. Again, I had a high finish in a Bass Open. It was the first time I had ever put this bait to work, and I saw how good it can be. What else you got, Hank?
That was no hook with that. Well, where's the spiders?
This one?
Yeah.
This is a old Rebel We Are crankbait, and this goes back to, man, I probably wasn't much older than Hank when I found this. I found this on the shores of Lake Maxinkuckee in northern Indiana. So my dad, as a young child, he would take myself and my brothers to Lake Maxinkuckee. We'd go right before it got dark. My dad liked to used to fish for walleye, and he would fish for walleye. And usually when we got there, Culver Academy is on the shores of Lake Maxinkuckee. It's a very, very prestigious school, and they've got beautiful beachfront. And my brothers and I, while it was still light out, would used to walk the shoreline, and a lot of times we'd find baits that washed up on this beach, and this happened to be one of them. It was one of the first hard baits I think I ever owned, and it ended up turning out to be a very good fish catching bait for me. And at this point I've retired it. I've got other ones that I carry with me, but this is the one I found on the beach probably 30 some years ago. What do you think, Hank? Got one or two more in?
I'm the red one.
This big one?
Yeah.
So that's a I don't even know if I know the actual official name to it. So it's a Leelur musky bait. I just call all of these tallywhacker style baits. I want to say they call it a thumper, but I'm not sure. Again, in some of my other videos, you hear me talk about how, you know, the two of the hottest baits in bass fishing right now are the Berkeley Chopo and the Whopper Plopper. And they really came from, well, Larry Dahlberg, who was a very big muskie fisherman from the Minnesota area, took these muskie style prop baits, like the Tallywhacker is an original one. You know, there's a bunch of them, but he took it, made some changes to it, made some smaller sizes in the bass world, took to it. This is one that I have used to catch a lot of fish. It finally kind of ended up dying on me. The tail pulled out. I know I've caught, I had a 43.5-inch muskie that I caught on this on the river here with my buddy Matt Lazarski, who the same day caught one that was over 50 inches. I think it was 50.5 if I recall. It was just a super fun night, super special night, and because it broke, I retired it, but it was a very good bait. How about we do one over here? And that'll be the last one for today. We'll do more episodes of these maybe. This one? All right.
The big one. Big one.
Well, let's do this one. We'll end with this one. This is a 40 acre, oh, it's a VS swimmer. It's a custom bait. I think I might have another one over here. I can see if I can grab. So it's a fish 30 acre VS swimmer. This is one that I was lucky enough to get off my buddy Casey O'Donnell again, who happens to work at Waterfront Bait Shop down at Gunnersville. So he was with me. So I'm a big fan of custom baits. I spend too much money on it. This is one that I pulled out, and I was fishing on Smith Lake. I just wanted to try something different. I put this little guy on, hence the tail's missing, and the first dock I was fishing, this was in practice, I threw up under there and caught like a I don't know, it was probably a 5-pound largemouth. And I remember going, you know, the light bulb goes off and I'm feeling really good, like I just figured something out. And I went like 3 more docks. I had 1 more fish chase it to the boat. And like the 4th dock after that, I hit the side of the dock and the tail broke off. And so I got back that day and I'm like, okay, I'll buy some more. And I had found that he had discontinued them and stopped making them. And I've got a couple more of these. Like I said, I've got the one from Casey. I scour the internet for them. It's a high riding swim bait that rides right on the surface and creates a perfect wake. It's super high speeds. It's a really, really good bait. If you can find them, you should buy it. I doubt you're going to be able to find them or beat me to it because I'm on it. I'm looking for them. But he makes some fantastic stuff. Some really cool glide baits and stuff. Check out the fish 30 acre, I think is what the website is. And, you know, I retired him, put him on the wall. Had a special meaning to me. So Hank has walked away. I think we're going to call it for now. You know, it's a cool board that I've got. If you enjoyed the video, let me know and we can try to do them again. Hank is now showing you a new one in the package. But thanks for watching, guys. And hopefully we'll have a few more of the dream boards for you. Thanks for watching.